the tropics are really starting to ramp up here, and we could actually see a hurricane heading for the United States. Yes, that is right. Now, although chances remain low at the moment, this hurricane season it's been very wonky. I'm not ruling anything out yet, that is for sure. In today's video, we're going to break down the upcoming severe weather return along with the potential uptick in tropical activity that may occur as we head throughout the rest of October into early November. Starting off with today's outlook, until we have multiple areas of just general thunderstorms, and this is a setup we haven't seen in a while, that we have 3 straight days of general thunderstorm risks. So here's today's outlook. Then right here will be tomorrow's outlook, general thunderstorm again. Day 3, we have general thunderstorm again. Now our day 4 outlook, I did not pull it up, but we do not have anything highlighted. Although tomorrow I do anticipate we will have a marginal risk likely across portions of the plains. So we're just going to have to watch that closely. And honestly, a bit of a higher end day may occur actually on Friday. Now the day 3 would be Thursday. So just going to have to watch that one closely. And this is the CIPS CSU SPC for the day 4 risk. Or I guess what would be the day 4 risk. And they think that we are going to have a severe weather chance back here in Oklahoma and Texas. As you can tell, we do have a 5% chance. And actually we're at 0.114, so yeah, a bit lower, but we're still gonna have to watch that closely. And even as we move on to the day 5, we will see another risk. It shifts to the east some, so I do think day 4 and 5 is going to be a pretty large area that we need to watch for severe weather. And what is going to be causing all this severe weather, you may be wondering, and it is going to be our trough here and our jet stream, and this is what is going to likely cause it. Low pressure system is going to move over the Rockies, and it's going to promote a pretty large area of severe weather. It may even be bigger, more like this area. That's going to be under the gun for severe weather, although I will say it has been slowing down some, so definitely going to watch that closely. As if it were to slow down, Friday would be the more substantial day. If it speeds up, then Thursday would likely be the more substantial day. And as this moves off into Dixie Alley, depending on how much moisture we can get pulled out, we could still be watching a severe threat along Dixie Alley in the Gulf Coast. So we're just going to have to watch that closely. And as we head into next week, I do want to point out, we get a very deep ridge in our jet stream that really kind of just promotes a very large area of severe weather that we are going to need to be watching closely. As in the long run, this is going to pose a large threat of severe weather across a very large area. And that area I just highlighted in red, you will see here why. Because it's just going to continue to move until it finally just gets shot out by another ridge, which would likely promote more severe weather across similar areas. So this is the start of fall severe weather season, to say the least. This is the GFS on what could happen here on, let's say here on Thursday into Friday. Here we are on Thursday. You see our low pressure system back there in Arizona. It starts to move, and you can tell we get storms to fire up in a few areas. Some over here in Oklahoma, some back here in Texas. So we're just watching some pretty large areas, or I guess across a large area. You can tell Friday looks like it may be a bit more of an organized severe setup across a bit of a larger area. Keep in mind, these are going to be more of overnight systems, so just make sure you have ways to receive warnings. As we head over into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, you can tell some more organized severe weather events are going to potentially take place. That could bring our first snowfall to places like Kansas and even Oklahoma. Yes, you heard that right. Oklahoma could be looking at its first snowfall. So we're going to watch this closely as things are going to change. So just make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts, and you have multiple people to check with and know like where you're getting your weather information and know that it's accurate. Here's the European model, and it has actually been in pretty good agreement with the GFS here on Thursday. Bit of a messier setup, and Friday a bit more organized, as you can tell. As we move into next week, still messy. Now it does have it a bit further to the east, and this could actually promote some pretty significant damaging winds if this were to occur. So we're just going to have to watch, as our ISO bars aren't extremely tight, but they're still pretty tight, which does show we may see some very strong winds out of this. So nevertheless, just make sure you are staying weather aware in these areas. So we're going to actually head over to the tropics now. And we do have a large area here. This is 90% chance of formation in the next 7 days, and I believe this is 80 in the next 48 hours, 70 in the next 48 hours. Still, so this X is where our storm is currently. It could go all the way out here, and if it goes out here, it may take a turn up here into the Gulf. Now, what we're expecting is it to develop in this region. Let's get rid of this. We are expecting it to develop in this region right now and make a very sharp turn to the northeast. I do feel this is one of the more likely scenarios, although I'm not ruling out it does go and hit like Miami if it does develop a bit later. And if it were to go all the way like out, I would not rule out it going up into the Gulf, taking a turn up through into portions of like Louisiana, Texas, or maybe even just like across Mexico. So we're definitely going to watch this closely. And here's just a look right now, and it has actually been getting a bit more organized over the last couple of hours here. As you can tell, it's getting a bit more spin. Now, we don't have an eye or anything yet, but it has been developing more spin. And I do think in our next update, we definitely could see our next tropical storm. Here's the GFS on this, and you can tell here, as it developing, comes a pretty nasty hurricane very quickly, but it heads just straight over like places like Cuba and just moves off like just like a strong hurricane, but just moves off into the ocean. And behind it, we could see another system develop. So we're going to watch it closely, but otherwise it does not look like we are going to get really many more systems off Africa. This could be like the end of our hurricane season. I'm not saying that yet. Take that with a grain of salt, as this hurricane season has been very, very wonky. But this definitely could be wrapping up our hurricane season, and I would be very happy if it is, as we have not seen a hurricane make landfall. Here's the European model with this system, and it is kind of showing one of the similar things. It does have it a bit slower and a bit more to the west, and it has it kind of stalling out here for honestly a few days, and then slowly moving to the west before becoming a major hurricane, moving over places like Cuba, Puerto Rico, and as they coming a bit closer to Florida, as you can tell, probably about 400 or 500 miles offshore. Pretty long ways still. But I honestly am leaning more towards the European model scenario. But one thing too, we have a very sharp cutoff here with the Gulf, with all of our systems going on now. We're going to have a ton of dry air in place across here, and our warm, moist air across this area. So it's going to try and track up here, and it's going to hit like this barrier. And if it can break through, it definitely could take a track up into the Gulf. But I think that barrier, along with our high-pressure systems, are just going to be able to shoot it out. So looks like the United States may be good for now. And this is a look at the ensemble members. And all these orange that you see here show all the different scenarios. You can tell there's only a few that really take it extremely close, and also the European model is one of the closest models it takes. So one of our higher end models is taking it like closest to the United States, but our higher end model is like an outlier here. So we're gonna watch it closely, but honestly I think we are definitely trending downwards from any US impact, and that is very good. And here's Invest 98L and its model track guidance. You can tell very few spaghetti models have it coming further into the Caribbean. And you can tell here many spaghetti models have it taking that track up through Cuba and Puerto Rico. So very good thing that it is going to stay away from the US, but bad for these people here. Now, I want to let you guys know, if this were to come anywhere near the U.S. and bring any U.S. impacts, we would be live on this channel covering it. So make sure you have notifications turned on so you get notified if and when we do go live. Here's a look at the model intensity guidance. This does look like it's going to become a Category 1 to 2 hurricane. Now, most of our shorter models have it reaching that Category 1 to high-end tropical storm status, with the ones that go out further do have it reaching that Category 1 to 2. And we do actually have a few models up here that have it reaching Category 4. Now we do have this one model down here that has it staying subtropical. So what this is essentially showing, we're likely going to see a tropical storm at the very least. Now, it is a bit uncertain what strength this is going to get to, whether it's going to get to hurricane status, and if it is going to make it to major hurricane status. And it's been a while since I've had to make this, but these are the landfall chances, and this does say all areas are subject to change, because they are. I do have parts of Louisiana all the way through Florida up into the northeast towards places like West Virginia, and that low chance. I do think we are going to see low chances up the coast. If this is able to track up near the Gulf or something, I do think it could take a track up the northeast, although likely in our video tomorrow I will probably actually only have areas like this outlined. It really just depends on how our models trend overnight. I have left these areas in a low chance because I do think there is a very, very, very slim chance it does take a track like that. And here are hurricane threats. Tornadoes, some of which can actually be strong. Winds, they can exceed 175 miles an hour in some of our stronger hurricanes, and storm surge can be up to 20 plus feet. So just make sure you are very alert if you hear a hurricane is coming, or even just a tropical storm. This is the hurricane action plan. So we are currently at the 5 to 7 days out, long way out. So just make sure you are monitoring forecasts. Make sure you're telling your family and friends, like, we just need to keep an eye on this, as although right now it's not like a high chance it's going to hit, something could change, I heard. So let's just continue to monitor the forecast. Know what to do in case there is a real threat to you. So say something were to change, just know what you are going to do. And then confirm you have a reliable source. Check with them every day. See if they've updated you on anything. And once we get to the 1 to 4 days out, you need to be monitoring the forecast. Make sure family know. It's not right now. Tell family and friends. Make sure they know. 3 is go over your plan and make sure to grab your essentials. So make sure you have food, water. Make sure you've boarded windows and everything already. Got sandbags. And then check with your reliable source again. Just be checking for all those updates. As here on this channel, we will likely have multiple updates throughout a day if something were to impact the United States or is looking likely to impact the United States. Then the day of, make sure you have multiple ways to receive alerts. Check hourly from your source. Do not leave your house. If you were told to evacuate, it's too late. If you're already in it, don't even try. And then confirm with everyone you know, like, what to do if and when a warning comes through. Know if that tornado warning comes through, where we are going to hide. And before we end off this video, I wanted to let you guys know I do officially have a website. I call it WWWFC, and on the welcome page it says, "Welcome to WWWFC's Weston's Weatherwise Forecast Center." It does have radar. Here you can tell it has all the warnings across the U.S. So we have red flag warnings. You can see freeze warnings. So very cool. We even have our small craft advisories. It does show alerts up there in Alaska too. It has radar even all the way down here near Puerto Rico and stuff. Even has the warnings down there in Puerto Rico. So, very cool. I do encourage you guys to check it out, actually, and the link will be in the description to go to this, and I will be making a community post. So, just make sure you're watching. It does have radar, obviously. You can hit play, and it'll play the radar. Now, it is just reflectivity radar. But here you can hit this there's a little red icon up in the top right that you guys cannot see, and it will show all the current warnings and everything. And then I do have confidence outlook, and this is for me to edit. You guys can't edit anything on here. I have a certain place I can go that I issue these. We do have low, medium, high, and extreme for our risks that I can issue. I did issue a low risk just so I can show you guys, but this is really the risk of severe weather that I think is in play for the day. I will update these every single morning, and then in the afternoon I will update it, and then at night I will update it. So just make sure if you guys are needing, like, if I'm not making a video and you need a way to check like what your area may be experiencing, come here and see if I have you in any risk, as it does have an area that can locate you. You can reset the bearing, like it's even got like 3D map. So a very cool thing. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one. Peace.